Peace. Good morning, everybody. A lot of people keep sending me this video about the whites only settlement that's being built in Arkansas. I seen it last night. Well, a few of y'all sent it to me last night, so I found it on YouTube. It's actually on YouTube. It's like 30 minutes long. I watched it, and I'm not surprised, and I don't got no problem with it. I'm not surprised at it at all, though. I spoke about 25 years ago. I was locked up, and I was in the hole, next door to a white supremacist. And I told that story on here before, how, he interjected, tried to, cut into me with a conversation. He had the USA Today. He was the only person in the hole that had the newspaper, and he used to pass it around after he got done reading it. And I was next door to him, and when he would pass it, to me, I wouldn't read it. I would just pass it to the next cell. So I guess I wouldn't say he got offended by it, but he just seen that I didn't fuck with him. We would be in the exercise cages together, and I just didn't fuck with him. I didn't talk to him. It wasn't so much that he was a white supremacist. He had the swastikas, them clovers, and them lightning bolts and white power. He had all that shit tattooed all over him and shit. He used to be working out next to me, and I never said nothing to him, but I never really talked to anybody down there because the jail that I was in, I didn't know anybody down there like that. I got caught on a highway with some drugs and got locked up in the middle of nowhere. So he tried to cut into me one day when he seen it. I never read his newspaper. And he asked me, was it a problem? And I told him, I ain't got no problem with you. Like, I don't know you. You know what I mean? And he was like, I know how you feel. I got the tattoos and, whatever. So he was like, I just want to, if you don't mind, I just like to share some information with you. So I'm civilized. And I'm like, go ahead, shoot. And he started to explain to me misconceptions that people have about white supremacists. And he was saying that, the people that you see doing hate crimes and shit like that, they don't really represent us. He said, we don't got no issues with black people. Our beef is with the government and the police and shit like that. Similar views to Timothy McVeigh. Like, he was big on Timothy McVeigh. And he was saying, like, black people don't pose no threat to us. He said, all y'all do is kill each other and shit like that. He said, man, y'all need to stop that shit. You know what I'm saying? And he was telling me way back then how he told me that they were in like Montana and, the mountains and the countryside areas of the United States, building their own nation. They have women who be having sex with everybody in the organization, having as many babies as possible. They be trying to have a lot of male babies. Be talking about building their own armies. They got their own crops. They got their own agriculture shit going on. They own chickens, food, cows, all of that. They got a very, great distrust of the government. They were saying how the government will try to control people or even kill people through the food and shit like that. And that's some of the shit that you see happening today. People speculate that things are being done to us in regards to population control through the food. But this white guy, he told me all of this, and he told me that they was building their own communities. They was teaching kids how to fire guns. They was stacking weapons. They was out in the middle of nowhere, man, with, freshwater springs, just learning how to live off the land and off the grid and, all of that type of shit. And at the end of it, he was like, I'm telling you this information so you can take this back to your people, man. And y'all need to get organized too. So, and lastly, he told me that, he had just got off at death row, and he got off because a guy from the Nation of Islam filed some legal briefs and helped him basically saved his life. He had some serious case. I think he shot it out with police and a bunch of other crazy shit, but he got him off death row. You know what I'm saying? And when I ran into him in the county, he was back in court trying to get back to the streets. I think he still had like 25 or 30 years or something like that. Something to that nature. But anyway, when I seen that video, you know, the whites only settlement and shit like that. The segregation shit, I didn't have no problem with it. I don't have no problem with what they doing. That's their business. They probably don't want to be around a bunch of niggas and shit like that. And when you see people moving like that, for the most part, they're scared. They scared of black people and shit. That's at the root of it. But as far as them want to take their families and be away from black people, a lot of black people be wanting to be the fuck away from black people and be wanting to move the fuck away for being scared or aware, or just don't be wanting to put up with the bullshit. But the shit that they doing, I don't have any problem with it at all. If you look at it, if you really take a look at it, some of their beliefs, some of the people that have those types of beliefs, is similar to the Nation of Islam that I grew up in. The Nation of Islam that I grew up in, it's not the same way that it was back in the day. Back in the day, like, you don't hear people saying the white blue-eyed devil, or the white blue-eyed blurry-eyed devil, or talking about Nimrod and all this type of shit. You don't really hear that shit no more. But in the 80s, in the early 80s, the early 80s Nation of Islam I grew up in, it was, now that I'm an adult, I understand it. It was very, very, it was bad, man. It was like a separatist organization. Things that I understand to be probably hate-themed beliefs and practices were promoted, and it actually affected my life. I told people this before, like when I was young, like coming through elementary school, I had a lot of assault cases, assaults on teachers. Like I got assaults on teachers on my jacket and shit, because I'm going to school with this belief being pumped into me that the white people is the devil, that the white man and the white woman is the devil. So when I go to school, I'm not taking no shit from nobody. I'm zero tolerance. Like I'm buck wild in regards to race relations. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't know nothing but aggression because I'm being told that they the devil and shit. You know what I'm saying? And you know, when you grow older and you get to maturing and developing your own relationships, you understand that the devil can come in and any type of race can have devilish people. And when I look at it for real, the most rotten things that's ever been done to me in life was done by my own people. It wasn't done to me by white people. So I come to the conclusion that a devil can be anybody, black, white, Chinese, Asian. Like devils come in all types of forms. So that's not my belief anymore in regards to, you know, teachings from the nation and shit. But a lot of the stuff, a lot of the stuff that those people are talking about, the nation was teaching that for black people back in the day. And maybe even the Black Panthers probably had some specific teachings that was separatist or could be viewed as racist. But for them to be doing that, I don't have no problem with that. I don't care about that, man. I'm worried about preserving my life and the things I got going on and shit. I won't never run into those people in the woods of Arkansas and shit like that. I think they probably back there for a reason and shit. They creating their own world. Ultimately, the conflict, it's always been like this, ends up being with the government. Like, if you look at that video, the shit that they was talking about, the shit they was on, arming themselves, it's no different than Randy Weaver, the situation that happened with Randy Weaver, or the Branch Davidians. I don't think it was any black folks. It might have been any black folks out there with David Koresh. I don't know. It could have been. But that's ultimately who they end up having an issue with, the government and shit like that. Like, they out there arming themselves and they practicing how to shoot and all of that. And if you look at history, they always end up going to war or having some type of conflict with the government. Like if they get to amassing too many weapons and shit like that, even you know, them having that settlement out there, that shit will be infiltrated. The government want to know what the fuck they back there doing. They gonna send informants. They probably informants there already. It's probably people in law enforcement already in there blending, you know, being a part of what they got going on, because you got to stay aware of what's going on with these types of people, because the government know how they feel about them and how they feel about the police. Like, they pose a danger to society. Hate is hate. And when you breed in hate, ultimately it's going to come out in the form of some type of aggression. But the video, it's on YouTube. I forget the name of it. Just type in whites only settlement. That's what I typed in to find it. I don't have no problem with it. I really don't. It's really nothing more than a sundown town. Don't take your black ass through there and shit. Like, don't get caught through there and shit, man. Like, have your head on a swivel. Make sure you understand where you at all times. But these types of places exist, been existing. That ain't the only. I'm talking about for years and decades and decades. There's already people who have been incarcerated for doing shit like this and, you know, breaking the law. They don't just be back there in the woods building a nation and shit. They be back there drug trafficking, selling methamphetamines, doing what the white boys do. You know what I'm saying? They be having their own drugs. They be it takes a criminal turn eventually and shit, like, because all societies have motherfuckers that's criminals and shit. So keep that in mind. But I'm not shocked at all that this is going on. And not today, not yesterday. You got to understand where we live in America. It's a lot of perverted shit going on. But when I step back and take a look at it and shit, I'm like, shit. It's kind of like a white Nation of Islam situation going on. We was taught to have our own crops. Everything that they on, the nation was speaking on in the 80s. Stockpiling water. Like when I was a kid, we had cases and cases and cases of bottled water. My mother used to be boiling water on the stove for us to drink. All types of canned goods and non-perishable items. Just being, there was a philosophy that we would have to live independent of, you know, the United States, and that we was also taught that, you know, these certain people was the devil and shit like that. So we couldn't depend on them for food. And, you know, just think about it. If the government wants to flip the world upside down, all they got to do is stop putting food in grocery stores. This should have turned into something. Something really, really dangerous. All they got to do is just cut off water supplies, and you will see people will have to learn how to sustain and live on their own. And some people have taken on the initiative, like the people this in Arkansas, to be prepared for shit like this. So don't think that that's about us all like that, because like the dude told me back in the day in the county jail, he said, we don't have to worry about y'all, man. He said, y'all kill each other on the weekends, y'all kill each other Monday through Friday. Y'all not organized, y'all don't got no money, y'all don't got nothing but Cadillacs and shit like that. Like, and he was saying it to me just like that, you know what I'm saying? And me, I was advanced enough to extract the information from what he was saying. You know what I'm saying? I'll never forget it. I'll never forget that encounter with him. It's a true story. And to this day, I believe that there was a lot of truth contained with what he was saying. He was talking about them building back up their population, trying to create their master race or whatever, because their population has decreased. There's a lot of biracial kids in this world and shit. It's a lot of Puerto Ricans. It's a lot of blacks. It's a lot of other nationalities that's dominating, you know, the United States, and they feel that their numbers are decreasing and shit. And they like, man, we got to do something to build back up our population. So that's how I look at it. Again, I don't got no problem with what they doing. I feel it's been going on forever. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, The Real Gully TV, hip hop, sports, fashion, and I get off into some political shit if I have to. Go to my website, therealdribble.com, get the trifecta. I'm about to get to the gym. Follow me on Instagram at IamGullyTV. Y'all have a wonderful day. Peace. IamGullyTV _ partner. Peace.